Salve, plebes! 'Tis I, Gaius Marcus Ampellos.
No. Maybe. Oh yeah, no, I think that worked. Yeah.
Oh, my perfect introduction and you ruined it.
No,
And
I think it's fine.
We're supposed to be professional. And who are you supposed to be anyway?
I don't know. Gaius Maximus Barbatus, allegedly.
Well, you are very beardy.
Ah, yes.
Hello to everyone and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us this week. You may notice that this is different from what we originally planned. We said we were going to play some bolt action.
Yes.
And then we pulled a fast one on you and announced the release of SPQR version 2.
Yes, that's what happens when we go very quick in the release schedule.
Oh, yes.
You end up with new things at different times, and it's very strange. But
Totally
hopefully this won't become as a massive surprise to people. I think a lot of people have seen that we've been working on some SPQR, a couple of people from the company posting around. So
Now, there's been some foreshadowing.
Yes.
The fates were speaking to those who would listen. I've been playing like hours and hours of Rome Total War. I'm ready for this. I've got one-liners for days.
Oh dear.
Oh yes.
Oh dear, oh dear. So yes, hello to everyone in chat. I see there's quite a few of you in there already.
Nice, good to see. As again, unfortunately, due to COVID, safety and social distancing, I can't see the chat. So Max will be reading out the lovely things you've said about us. And hopefully you'll all be very nice to me, because it is a special day today.
No, the release was last week.
Oh, my poor heart. No, I'm another year on this benighted barrel of rock. It is my birthday. Yeah, it looks like I've got a pretty good present in the form of a deep dive into the new SPQR rules. Which, to be honest, Max has been hyping at me for about, what, 2-3 months now?
Probably about 2. I read this one the second it came on the desk. I've actually been really excited for this one. Anyone who's been following the SPQR Facebook page, possibly my own blog, anything like that, I've been working on a auxiliary force for a couple months now.
And they are
and I wanted to be right points-wise, so I didn't want to buy anything that I couldn't then use in a list. So I wrote up a 1k list, nice and middle of the road, I think.
Yeah.
But I've been working to it for a while. To make a good list, you kind of need to know what you're doing.
Yes. Surprising, that.
Crazy the world we live in. But yeah, so I got it all ready, and yeah, it's almost there. It's fun. But yeah, the rules are really good. I never actually played SPQR V1.
Whereas I did.
Yeah, so I don't know how much of that's new, how much of it's changed, how much of it's just tweaked, but right off the bat, it looks pretty tight as a rule set, so I'm looking forward to getting some games in.
Yeah.
Doesn't look too over-bloated, there's a lot of simple but effective rules mechanics that I'm a big fan of.
Which is what you want, really, for a game like this, where the focus is so much on campaign play. You want to actually have those, campaign rules that are interesting.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily want to get bogged down quite so much in the minutiae of, is he swimming against a strong breeze or a light wind?
Yeah, and fundamentally this is a game that, to do anything, you need to roll 6s.
Yeah.
There are pluses and minuses applied. Past that, it's all kind of set dressing and so on and so forth. So obviously the points and the amount of pluses, minuses you get per thing depends on the armies, and that's how you get your kind of army flavours. Fundamentally, this is a game that I think you will be able to just pick up and play really fast, which I think is going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is true of a lot of our games, but I think it's probably the simplest rule set we sell.
So that's an interesting one, because obviously a couple of weeks ago, we did a deep dive into the new Mythic Americas supplement for Warlords of Erewhon. And again, at its core, that's a pretty simple game. How would you say this stacks up? Because obviously that's a game we were both very excited for, we both really enjoyed, and it's a similar scale of game.
Yeah.
It's that warbandy, skirmishy game.
Yeah.
So how would you say, you've done a much deeper dive into the rules than I have, how would you say it stacks up? What's the comparables there?
They are really similar games. That's kind of the hardest thing to kind of really tear apart why they're different. And some of it's kind of outside the game's remit. It's a D6 system.
Yes.
Right off the bat, you get a massive difference in where...
your probability curve.
Yeah, Erewhon, it's roll under your stat modifiers. Apply, change that. This, you're always looking for 6s. So, for example... I believe, like, a large shield, for example, gives you +3 on armour, which means suddenly you're going to be way more survivable.
Yeah, you want 3s.
Yeah.
Because that adds to a 6.
Yeah. I can't remember if that's exactly right.
But that's the principle.
Yeah. So suddenly you've got way faster play. And yeah, I think this is going to be one that's easy to pick up, hard to master. There's not too much nitty-gritty rule stuff. It's not how you balance this unit and you combine them, then it makes super cheesy and overpowered combo and they buff each other. No, it's groups of people moving around a board and getting into combat. Combat's pretty brutal. Shooting's actually pretty brutal as well. You kind of bringing it back to basics in a way. It's pretty pick up, play, get models killing each other, and then you get your development as units level up, characters level up. It really benefits from repeat play by the looks of it. So you get start with like a 500 denarii warband, go up to 1,000, so on and so forth. So yeah, I think different in that regard.
And that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to with this, because I've had an itch, actually. I should probably get that looked at. I've had an itch for quite a while for some serious campaign play.
Yeah.
And honestly, the thing with a campaign game is, as kind of we mentioned already, you don't want a complicated game.
No.
You don't want a game where the game is the focus almost.
Yeah.
You want the campaign as an overarching thing to be the focus.
You almost want it basic's not possible, but it's simple enough where everything is, nothing's too defined, so that the things they earn in campaign, the level ups,
they mean
stuff, that's what defines your unit. So it's not, this unit's the best in the game, and it's going to always be the best in the game. Not necessarily. You can take a basic unit of legionaries way past basic praetorians. You can take basic Gauls if they live long enough and they start going on, all the way past legionaries and stuff like that. You end up with units specialised to do what you want them to do, but they all just start off as warriors with sword and shield.
And that I really love, because that gives you attachment to your models.
Yeah.
And it means you've got a reason to care. You're not just, sod it, I'll throw those random Gauls in. I mean,
you still might, depending on who they are, but specifically like heroes.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel it when your hero takes a bad wound.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of games out there that are like that.
Yeah.
And this is the first one of ours, really, to do this. And I'm really quite excited for that. For exactly that reason. To get that, I'm playing the game to win the game I'm playing, obviously. But I'm also playing with a view for the campaign as a whole.
Yeah.
I'm not just, doesn't matter how many casualties I take, Pyrrhic victories all the way.
Yeah.
I'll just win this one game. Might be better.
A neutral draw is suddenly better than a costly victory.
It might be better to even withdraw here.
Yeah.
And take a loss. Which is, against most of our natures as wargamers, in order to preserve my force for the campaign.
Yes,
and I really
quieten down the wargamer in you and kind of let live the general inside of you, thinking about the bigger picture.
Absolutely, which I really enjoy.
Which I think as well, I don't know if you've had a chance to flick through the scenarios yet. We've already got a question about that. I think the scenarios kind of allow you to look into that quite deeply. A lot of the scenarios aren't just hell for leather, most kills, dead and gone. There's some where it's simple as like, go steal some cattle.
Yeah, which is one of the things.
Find your favourite goat and nick it.
This is one of the things we really liked about Americas, is that there were scenarios in there that aren't. We played a kill 'em all because we'd never played the game before. We wanted to get
bad.
Yeah, we wanted to get the hang of it.
Yeah,
and the simplest way to do that is just bash two forces together.
Yeah,
but with this, absolutely, it is that. One thing I really enjoy. I've looked through this enough that every faction has its own faction-specific scenario.
Yes, which is weird.
It's weird.
It's a good idea, but it is very unusual.
But looking at those scenarios, yes, they're faction-flavoured, but you can absolutely turn those into generic scenarios if you want to use them as that.
Yeah.
And again, it's all about expanding that campaign experience for me.
Yeah.
Instead of playing, we've got 10 guys in this campaign, we're going to play, 5 games of bash each other's army to death. It's going to be 5 dynamic missions. And this is a game, actually, I can almost see in a detailed campaign, almost wanting a GM or a commissioner.
Possibly.
Possibly. It doesn't need to be that complicated, but if you want to take it to that extreme, the depth is there.
Yeah,
which
is
a lovely
depends
option.
on how many people you've got playing. If it's like a big group where you've got, multiple groups potentially making alliances, you kind of need someone to kind of balance it.
Yeah.
Make it kind of work. So that could be interesting.
I see a game like this and a campaign system like this, and my hamster brain starts breaking out the big map of Europe and the little red strings and the pins and the croupier's poking pole. I'm sat there going, we could have some fun with this. And I think we will.
Yeah, I can't wait to get this one playing. Like, I've been...
Finally have a use for those beautiful auxiliaries.
Well, I set them up to do SPQR.
Yeah.
I knew from the start what we were doing. My hat's on really wonky today. There we go. And yeah, so from the start they were supposed to be an SPQR force. I've wanted to do Romans for a while, trying to find an excuse, not wanting to jump in at Hail Caesar level.
Yeah.
I like to kind of put in the extra detail noise. You look at that many guys, you know, I don't want to detail up all of those, but I don't also want to kind of half effort it. I want to do it like properly. So this is a kind of nice middle ground, because it's not like a tiny force like my 1,000 denarii force is about 30, 40 models on the table.
That's pretty big, especially for a Roman force.
Not quite Roman.
Well, they're technically Romans.
Yeah, Romish.
Romish. Rome adjacent. Literally Rome adjacent.
Southern Britain, it'll do.
Which is really interesting. Let's talk about that, actually.
Yeah.
Because obviously...
I'm just going to jump in chat a little bit, 'cause we've got a couple of people moving quite quick so far. So, hello, everyone. I see a bunch of you are saying hi.
Hello, hello.
I'm just seeing if there's anything that we desperately need to
No,
answer. I'm seeing a lot of just hellos and whatnot.
Good.
A couple of people wishing you a happy birthday.
Oh, thank you very much.
Crazy
that. 26 revolutions around the sun. Yeah, to be honest, kind of a normal work day for me, actually. You know, not like I was going to do anything in lockdown, so may as well come in and put some effort in and, you know, for a change, right? One day a year I've got to put some effort in.
Yeah, why not make it this one?
Yeah, exactly. Special day.
You're in a lot of trouble when it's a birthday weekend.
Yeah.
So, moving towards the back of the chat a little bit, we've got Ogdog and Mike W77 saying first, sweet Roman Blood Bowl, kind of, yeah, where you got your lingering injuries, lingering upgrades, stuff like that. It's not always just a hero is a hero and they have 2 wounds and 3 attacks, yada yada yada.
I mean, Ogdog would say that, but he is right.
Some of them will get better over time. Some of them might just die.
Yeah.
Some of them might get injured and then die. Some of them might get injured and then get better.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Shows you're a GM. And Mike's the same, so a bit like Necromunda, but for Romans. Yeah, basically. With that kind of development, it's not as broke down as your traditional pure skirmish games like Necro, Mordheim, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a bunch.
All the ones the Evil Empire did. Frostgrave would be another comparable, I guess.
Not really. Let me make my point, good sir.
Go on then.
So, those kind of games, your basic guys, your bods kind of thing, they level up as well.
Okay.
You don't get that in SPQR. I think units can upgrade, but it's less granular. It is a units and some formations with a hero or 2. Not every person is a individual.
Yeah,
you won't be knowing the name of your individual legionaries in the average war.
Yeah.
Crazy's exception.
I mean, absolutely, you touched on a very good point there. That this is a game about big damn heroes doing big damn hero things.
Oh yeah.
And you know, there's a lot of heroes of myth and legend.
Oh yeah.
In here. And one of the cool things I really like, because for those that might be new to SPQR, the basic concept of SPQR is, what if all the big heroes of the ancient and classical world decided to get a few mates and knock 7 bells out of everyone else to see who the toughest is? So you will end up with completely ahistorical matchups. You can quite cheerfully do Persians versus Gallic Celts.
Maybe not Persians.
Persians are in there.
Are they?
Yes.
Oh, so they are. That one.
Yeah, so you can get completely ahistorical matchups, or you can do what me and Max are doing, which is go a little bit closer to a theme.
Yes. Well, this kind of came up naturally, I think, just because of what we were wanting to do. I wanted to do Roman Auxilia. I was looking at British tribes.
Yeah.
So I thought, let's go for one of those. Someone who went. So it's the...
Dumnoni, isn't it?
Yeah, Dumoni. I can't remember the exact pronunciation, but the ones who are in kind of a little bit of Cornwall, a little bit of Devon, I think a little bit of Somerset, that kind of area, because where I'm from originally. So I thought, let's do that. They were only ever partially Romanized, as far as I can tell. They were never conquered. They were always client kings.
Yeah.
Which, you know, history leaves a lot of kind of grey space, so I thought, let's have some fun with that. They're not properly Romanized. They're probably not going to end up being legionaries, true Romans, kind of in the eyes of the rest of the empire.
No one's going for citizenship here.
But I thought, if they're still being equipped by Rome, if they're being helped out, there's a lot of trade, they'd probably end up looking something like auxiliaries. Fortunately, we have quite an extensive auxiliary range, so I've just gone for British-themed auxiliaries with some Eastern archers, because those models are really good.
Oh, that's so good.
And some Balearic slingers as well, but that's just because I wanted some variation.
Yeah, can't blame
And I had like, I think about 90 points left over, and I was like, well, I got to spend them on something, and slingers come to about that many points, and they look cool. They're in Rome, both 1 and 2. So
yeah, I was going to say, it's the classic Roman total war army of a big blob of legionaries.
And they're iconic. They are iconic
are.
for the kind of era that I'm looking at, the Imperial Romans, right at the kind of zenith of their power sort of thing, where they've got a bit of everything. It's kind of like, you know, same as like Cretan archers. It's
Yeah.
famous mercenaries that I thought, yeah, you know what, we're already doing a pretty visually distinct thing in the Romans.
Yeah.
Let's just have one little extra flair.
I mean, and that's, and you know, this
He's
isn't...
not sponsored by Red Bull. This is an extreme sport, but
this isn't a game for... Or isn't a game designed for proper history nerds. Like,
it can be.
You can play this game authentically.
Yeah.
But this game isn't designed with absolute authenticity in mind. This game is designed for fun and for cool moments.
Yeah.
So kind of in that vein, I've gone for Britons. Being from Norfolk, I've gone for the Iceni pronunciation will be an argument forever.
Till we build that time machine and change history.
Yes. Which is, I think that's what, 3 weeks from now we're going to do the stream on how we travel back in time and save the dinosaurs.
Yeah, we're going to use... It's going to be difficult because you know how the TARDIS is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Fortunately, we are still working on a 28mm scale TARDIS, so getting in is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
And getting out again is probably going to be a problem, but once we're in, it'll be fine.
In fairness, we're only a little bit bigger. We're only sort of really 32mm scale.
Yeah.
No, so...
How many Maxim Marcuses can you fit in a Rhino without disassembling them and all that?
Ooh. Good question. Chat, tell us what you think. I mean, we've got one for scale up, just up the road. Which is FB 304, I think. But I digress. So,
Good.
I want to do, obviously, Iceni, being from Norfolk. Obviously, what I really liked was that, yes, the Boudica kind of era is cool.
Yeah.
But they were pretty notoriously not fans of the Romans.
No, they famously didn't get along.
No. And I really wanted to go for just this implacable, no, you're in our world.
Yeah.
And you're actually invading and conquering and subjugating us. We are going to resist you to the bitter end. And what I really like is you read like Tacitus and things, and they always describe the Britons with this almost otherworldly...
They were terrified of
supernatural... And absolutely, they're terrified of them. And I really wanted to go into that a little bit. So, you know, and what... Max, if you're
This is a very roundabout way to say none of your men have trousers on.
Yes. Also, I wanted to do a horde of naked dudes.
Yeah.
Because we actually sell a surprising number of naked...
Shocking level of naked dudes. We were talking about this in the office earlier.
Go
Even
on.
models who at first glance were like,
they're clothed.
that man is wearing clothes. You go, no,
He's not wearing them right.
something's dangling there. I don't know who sculpted that, but whoo!
Yeah. So, you know, but I really thought, let's roll with one of the things that the Romans observed and they couldn't wrap their heads around, like you maniacs. Why? Was people going into battle starkers, you know, painted in woad.
Yep.
And going in absolute starkers, and they just couldn't grasp why you do that because the culture was so other to them.
Well, I think the rumour mongering was ridiculous as well. The idea that they were physically giants on average.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that, like, you know, some people in the modern world are taller on average. It's not like, oh, that country has a statistically high thing. No, they were giants in the...
The Romans list, they universally, they're a race of giants.
Yeah, they're huge. And it's not they're taller, you know, you don't look up like that, you look up like that.
Yeah.
And I think that factored in the idea that dragons were kind of just around. I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't there, but it was the other place, the crazy place. It's the place the Gauls are a little bit like, and that's the Gauls? Wow.
The Greeks, I can't remember the name that the Greeks gave to the British Isles. But
Chat, there's one for you. Someone's got to know that, and you've got easier access to Google.
There were two. So I can never remember which way around it is. But the Romans and the Greeks have obviously two different names. Yeah. One of them translates to the islands of copper. Because the Dumnonii, especially in that Devon and Cornwall area, massive exporters of tin and copper. That was Britain's biggest...
Makes sense, because that stuck around for a while.
Britain's biggest trade in the period was in metals, tin and copper.
Yeah.
To the other civilization, it was basically the place beyond the end of the earth.
Yeah.
It was not quite of this world.
Yeah, it's not Europe anymore. They believe a different kind of religion than us.
Yeah.
Similar, but it's a bit unworldly. Whenever we talk to them, they speak wrong, smell different, their hair's weird, they're a little bit tall. Weird. Leave it, forget about it. We'll stick to ourselves.
It's like going to Sheffield. But no, so that's what I really wanted to go with. And to that end, so my whole army, as close as I can make it, I'm going to have to cut a few corners to avoid too many duplicate models.
Yeah.
Because, there's only so much you can do with...
There's only so many naked men we sell.
Yeah. And, even if I'm doubling up on them and, doing head swaps and weapon swaps.
Are you getting the metals from the Britain's box?
Yeah, I've got a couple of sets of the metals from the Britain's box. And basically everyone's getting head swapped to have the classic spiky hair and the mustache I wish I could grow. Are
you getting some Waterloos in there? The helmet.
Oh, yes. Isn't it? Yeah, Waterloo helmets and the Battersea shields.
Yeah.
They're in there. So I'm going to go really in on the woad. Because that's a really easy thing to do as well. Blocking in sections of like an arm in that bright blue really makes them striking, because otherwise they could be quite boring models.
No arguments here. I painted some back when I was about 15. Have you seen those ones?
I haven't.
I've dragged some in at some point. They're fun.
So I've got this opportunity to take some models that are basically one colour, flesh colour, and really go to town. I've got my druid. I've got the really cool dude with the 2 sickles and the deer skull.
And I think people thought they were crazy and terrifying.
Right, him I'm gonna try. I'm not great at freehanding, but I can do a little bit. I'm going to try some of the spiral knotwork designs in the blue woad.
That'd be cool.
And that's a colour that stands out really nicely. I'm going to make them quite pale-skinned.
Funnily enough.
Being it's not particularly sunny here a lot of the time.
It was quite nice today.
It was quite nice, but not sunny, just warm.
Yeah, sunny enough.
It'll
do.
And they've got some really dynamic poses in there as well.
Yeah.
So this, you've got quite a uniform, regimented force.
Absolutely, as is only proper.
Yeah. Whereas I've got this horde of naked barbarians coming screaming out of a misty forest as this hideous, terrifying druid is chanting eldritch spells in a strange language behind them. And in true Andrea Underzo fashion, my chieftain is going to be terminal ballistics, and my druid is mental gymnastics.
I haven't come up with a funny name yet. Better watch this space.
Monty Python's your friend here, I think.
I never met him.
Outstanding.
So, shall we touch on one of the subjects that I think have been in a lot of people's minds?
Yes.
Bit of an elephant in the room.
Yep.
This is the revised edition.
Yes.
You can tell, easiest way to spot if you ever see it on the shelves, it's got the Death or Glory stamp on the top. So we have the old one here. So, one thing that, straight off the bat, like I say, I never played this one, but I was flicking through the original today just to kind of get a feel for the comparison. The points have been overhauled.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't been tweaked, they have been quite significantly, completely updated.
Redone.
There are a few points that are like anchor units. Like, I think stuff like legionaries have basically stayed where they are. Everything else has then moved around them, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's true for Caesar's Legion. But the Imperial Romans, obviously, I'm playing the Auxilia, so I'm pretty familiar with their stats. So one thing that struck me is the Legionaries in this were about 24 points.
Yes.
And I think the Auxilia, off the top of my head, about looking, were about 18 points a body.
Yes, that's
In the original, Legionaries were still 24 points, and Auxiliary was 8.
Yes.
It's that massive change of points where I see the idea where the Romans were supposed to be, these big juggernauts that just kind of plow through the table. I think a lot of the time there was an issue with people being outnumbered, the power level not quite being at a level where they're even. A lot of things have kind of gone up, which means we're going to see lower body counts overall, unless you're like a Roman playing something like Praetorians.
Yeah.
You're probably going to stay about the same because you were probably going to be fielding like 10 models.
Theban Sacred Band.
Those kind of guys aren't going to see it, but your Celt hordes, your Germanics, Britons, etc., they're probably going to see a slight downgrade, but a slight upgrade in the individuals.
It was one of the things that SPQR version 1 was, at its core, a solid game.
Yeah.
No
doubt about it.
We've been quite open about it, I think, as a company. It wasn't perfect when we released it. Not even close. And there was an awful lot of community feedback, which we very much appreciate, because the community's really dedicated.
Oh, yeah.
Which we love to see. And because, to be honest, if the community wasn't this dedicated, we wouldn't have done a revised edition.
No, it's because people wanted it. And I think a big part of why people want it it's such an iconic thing. Like, I've always loved Rome. I'm genuinely stunned. It took me to the age 25 to have painted a Roman army. Do you want to know why I did a Britain Force? Just very quick side topic. Why did I do Britons when I was 15? I was convinced the only way I'd find someone to play is if I took the less cool ones, so someone else could take the Romans, so at least then I get a game in. Didn't work, but...
Was this before you'd kind of really discovered, like, Hail Caesar and the Warlord hobby? Or were you aiming to play, like, Hail
I was
Caesar?
in a group where no one had really played any of it, so I knew about Warlord. A couple people had like bought the models. Everyone in that club basically just Warhammer and stuff like that. A couple of smaller games and some role players over in their corner, but our club mostly Warhammer. So I was trying to go, maybe if I could take the less cool one, someone else can take the really good one. We might break it. It never worked, but what are you going to do? So I've got a huge gore collection at home, probably 100 models at minimum painted up, ready for Hail Caesar if I ever need to take side on the Gauls for a big game. But like I say, it's just super iconic. It's a fun one, and there's a lot of different armies done here. Your basic Celts, your Greeks, like super iconic. I think with a name like SPQR, it's easy to forget about how much this book is dedicated to your Greeks, your successor nations, and things like that. And then some of the more exotic things like your Persians. We sell. You've also got your Iberians. And so there's a lot of variation in these books.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a big part of the appeal. So not everyone wants to do a whole horde for Hail Caesar, nor have they got the space for it, perhaps.
I'm basically in that boat. Is I would love to do some ancient stuff, and I've been wanting to do some ancients for a while, but I'm sat there going, to be perfectly honest, Hail Caesar, solid game. I've enjoyed the games I've played of it, but I don't play it enough to justify putting the time in to have a serious Hail Caesar army of a couple of divisions. Whereas this is perfect because it's a lower model count, and I can actually go in and not get into that mentality like we talked about earlier of, I don't want to detail 100 guys.
Which, like me with my French, they don't look as good as my World War II forces on my SPQR, because I'm going, I need to paint battalions worth, and it's like 100 a time. 3 units cavalry, cannon, officer, minimum. And again and again and again. So they get speed painted by comparison to something like SPQR, where I can go, well, I'm only doing 40 models tops.
So I can afford...
Which is big for an SPQR force.
That is big, I actually haven't costed mine up yet. I
think I flicked through yours. You should be able to get about 40 in 500, which is nuts.
So
you're all Skyclad, which is... There's bonuses for Skyclad, but it's not like Skyclad are the elite of your army. They're quite the opposite. They're the good end of bad.
Yes, absolutely.
They're just basic tribesmen with a buff. So you are a cheap army, fundamentally.
Absolutely. It's and that's where I say, it's probably where I'm going to have to come in and go, actually, I am going to need to use a few people wearing trousers. Because I don't want to have, like, 10 of the same sculpt.
So coming back to how it's changed... So like I said, the Legionaries have stayed at 24 each. Like I say, Legionaries are nice, flatline kind of thing.
They are. I think they were the unit the game was designed around. Like, here is the Legionary, here's the benchmark.
If I'm going to go back to Caesarian Legion, because I think they are the complete one. They're about the same in here. And they're exactly the same points-wise, so that's fine. So the auxiliaries around, like I say, this is something that I've been looking at. The auxiliary has gone from 8 points to 18. The auxiliary archer has gone from 8 points to 14. The cavalryman, 25 to 30. Slightly less, but you see that idea of they get bigger.
Absolutely.
Which kind of means that your Romans are still the toughest things on the tabletop, but they're not so outnumbered.
I mean, one of the things I like with that, actually, as well, by increasing the points in the new edition, obviously, one of the things that people get quite upset about, and I think quite justifiably upset about, whenever any games company brings out a new edition of a game. People are like, oh, my army's obsolete now. Or I need to buy more models because, some companies, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, will strategically do stuff like that. With this, if your SPQR army was big enough for the first edition, chances are it's going to be bigger than it was. You're not going to need, there may very well be some units that you're like, oh, actually, I really want to try these in the new edition. But that's the choice you have. It's not like, oh, great, now I need to make another box of Gauls just to play the game, which I really like. I think that's the right direction to go in with a big point shift like this.
And I think you've hit on something that we can kind of tail off on, I think. I think it's really important on what we are trying to do with this. redemption scheme. Let's
Yes,
talk the redemption scheme. I think a
absolutely.
lot of people might need a little bit of clarity on this one. Just want to check the chat a little bit, because we've
Yep.
got jumped in. I can see a couple of questions have popped through
Excellent. Always
there.
nice.
Obviously, we are nattering away. Don't want to feel like everyone is ignored. Bum, 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 bum.
It's
See,
just
Haggard brings
I
up
can't see him.
druids can cast hexes. Nobody was under the impression that it was a historical game. Exactly. There is a little bit of movie magic in this one.
Absolutely. Movie magic is exactly right, I think. Your heroes are
We're
supposed
not
to feel-
quite Harryhausen skeletons, but moving in that direction.
We could be.
But that's more Erewhon, I think.
Do them as Greeks for Hoplites and have Jason fight
Stick
them.
it to Erewhon. Erewhon, stay on target. That's another week.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of discussion on the TARDIS there.
Always good.
Marcus, does that mean your Warband will carry a plus 18 only rating? Because their dress. I think we can get it down to a 15.
We can. There's. I mean, if it was.
I think the violence alone is going to bring it up to an 18, irrespective of dress.
I mean, even if it's even if it was a 12A, I'd still be allowed one F-bomb in the Warband.
We're not even allowed one F-bomb on Twitch.
Exactly right. So no, I mean, we'll it will be sensitive with the camera for those of delicate disposition.
We will go out and find as many of these censoring leaves in 28mm scale as we can.
I mean that
would look quite funny, actually.
that would. People sell.
Make them in green stuff, and you don't even have to paint them.
People sell pre-painted. It's the paper foliage stuff for scale modelling. I might do that. That's not a stupid idea. I mean, the original nickname for this list was the Sausage Party.
Okay, so a couple more questions. Conradson, are we going to have a SPQR box with a Spanish book inside? At launch, no.
Yeah.
This is a line some of you might have heard before, because we've taken questions like this in the past. Basically, our aim and kind of company goal for the future is we'd like every game we sell, at least the core book, and at least the army books if they have it, in every major language kind of thing. However, that is a significant investment per book, and obviously we don't just want to run it through Google Translate and cause a million problems and sell people substandard products.
No.
So if this does well, and as the company keeps growing, then I'd hope to see it in other languages at some stage. And even if we don't do a starter set, if you call customer services, it might be a case of, I really want the Spanish one, but I need a starter set as well. Can you do a swap? See, we can probably work something out if it happens. We already can do back for bolt action if you need to, stuff like that.
Very related to that point, actually, when I was going to bring this up in the stream anyway. The Black Seas rules have been translated into Spanish.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah, it was thanks to, obviously, the really awesome efforts of the Spanish Black Seas community.
Oh, wow.
They really drove for it. They really helped lead it, and they made it viable for us as a company. So Spanish. Is
that getting published, or is that a download?
I don't know the specifics of it, but I did see an announcement over on the Black Seas page.
No way. I missed that entirely.
Yeah, so that's and that's the kind of thing we mean when exactly the same with the revised edition of SPQR. If the community wants it, and the community's there for us to give it to, then we'll do it. If we can. What we're not going to do is if nobody picks up a game, which knock on wood hasn't really happened to us.
No.
Then if nobody picks up a game, then as a company we will probably just go, all right, cool. There's the book.
Nice experiment.
There's the rules. But what we like, what we love, and what we have with so many of our games, it's really fantastic, is these communities that take them, run with them, and they push us to improve them. Yeah. And they push us to expand on them, which is absolutely awesome. We have a symbiotic relationship between the community and us as the creators. Yeah. Which is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, kudos to the Black Seas community, the Spanish community there, for pushing that to be a thing.
Nice. I had no idea. So there you go.
I didn't get told. I saw it on the page.
Nice. Cool. So where are we going? Oh yeah. So a couple of people have asked, is Carthage in this book? No.
No.
I wouldn't be surprised if this does well, we expand on that. I can't remember the name, but I saw someone had asked that on the Facebook as well, asking about will there be Dark Ages? So actually, Jimbo Green, let's jump on some of his questions. He asked a few. Any news on a Dark Age version? Nothing yet. If this does well, it might spiral off into expansion similar to, Hail Caesar.
And Warlords of Erewhon. Perfect example. Game did well. Yeah. Expansion came out.
And I mean, I'd like to see it.
Oh, so
and it might be a case of, it starts off as, here's a web team thing. If you've got the models here, use them. And then in a couple of years' time, If that does well, then it gets a proper release, so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
We've seen this before.
I mean,
So hopefully...
it will take about 10 seconds, but I'm just going to reel off what you actually get.
Do we have 10 seconds? You're going against the schedule.
So we've got warbands that are in the book.
Mhm.
Athens, Britain, Caesarian Romans, Dacia and Sarmatia, and that's one. Gaul, Germania, Iberia, Imperial era Rome, Macedonia, Persia, Sparta, and Thebes. And there's also a section for mercenaries. So that's where things like your Cretan archers, your Balearic slingers, your
Thracians,
things like that. That's where they come in.
Yeah.
So that's your nation roster to start with.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, some people will be absolutely desperate to go out and play something that's not on there, because that's always the way when a game comes out. People want to go, oh, but I want to mod it to my specific thing. Go nuts.
Yeah.
There's
something basic.
so many units in here that you could make a force for whatever specific period, or bit of antiquity that you wanted, and you chop it about. We can't promise it'll be balanced because it's your home ruling.
Or even, like, for example, someone asked about Vikings in the Facebook the other day. Just taking a look at the Gaul listings here, stuff like the basic warrior, you might agree to kind of change some of the stats around, but I think as a general soldier who is good at fighting, that would kind of work for a Norman, Viking, Saxon, anything from the more later periods. 6-inch movement, +2 melee, that's pretty handy.
With comparatively little modding.
Yeah, and no armour. I mean, straight off the bat, buy them a chainmail shirt, suddenly they're...
That's a Viking.
Not a herdsman anymore, like a thane.
Yeah.
Buy them a helmet, in the same direction. Buy them a shield and an axe.
Yeah.
Cool, now they're herdsmen. Buy them a shield and a spear and no armour. Cool, you've made freedman kind of thing. You can kind of mod it just out of the basic things, and then you might want to come up with some crazy rules for Ulfenvar, or you could just use the rule for Naked Fanatics.
Exactly.
And stuff like, there's ways to make it kind of fit already, but that's not me also saying, we'll never do it because you can mod it. No. I would... If it takes off, I'd like to see some specialization, some new rosters, and possibly, just a whole jump into a Dark Ages expansion would be freaking awesome, or even straight medievals. We're always interested.
Don't tempt me. We could call it Chevauchée.
Bills.
We could call it Chevauchée and do 100 Years War, man.
Do both.
Or...
But like I say, that'd be great. That'd be great. But then, we're jumping massively ahead.
Oh,
let's look at what we've actually...
Yeah, let's look at the now rather than the far future of maybes.
Yeah. And Carthage, man, I've pushed for it. I really want Carthage. I've annoyed Studio a few times. Like, when are we doing Carthage? I can't possibly say, go on, you wanna.
I mean, the thing that's important to think of as well for us as a company, why isn't Carthage in here? Well, we don't do Carthaginian models.
Yeah, the only ones we sell are the Agrippa miniature plastics.
Which are cool, but that's not a full range,
and I'd like to see one day Warlord takes their take on Carthage, because Carthage is basically a blank slate.
Yeah.
We know a little bit about how they look, but there's so many gaps to fill in and go, cool, Carthaginian archers look like this. Maybe, we don't know, but we think it looks cool.
Because the Romans did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
And Carthago did.
And again, if it was up to me, we'd also do Etruscans, so...
that is niche. An Etruscan boar vessel.
Stig, I see you've just hopped in chat. Apologies for crash and burning. I never need to apologise. We upload to YouTube afterwards, so you never have to miss a moment. How's I looking? So I like this question, and I don't have a great answer, but I like it as a question now.
Okay.
So, Mad, I'm not reading the whole name. How are the new points determined? So that's an answer without, also a question without one answer.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, we started off with community feedback, and with those unit that was generating a lot of complaints, or a weapon type, etc., etc. If there was one thing that was causing issues, that was the first thing that was having a look at.
Yeah.
There was a couple of things that were a little bit game-breaking, possibly, when used in the right combination. Yeah. First, we'll strip those back, and then find a way to still keep them fun. I think it was kind of the remit.
Absolutely.
From there, playtesting, getting everything sorted out, and rebalance. Like I say, I think everything was kind of built with the Roman in the middle as a kind of... Roman does not move. A Roman legion is 24 points basic. Everything else then gets pointed up or down to keep them feeling strong, but not feeling overpowered, and not just feeling like they can get walked
swamped.
over. Yeah, and then you've got to consider in, obviously, upgrades, leveling up, heroes, etc., etc. Yeah, and that was, I think, the first place And from there, it was all just fine tuning. I think.
I mean,
we had quite a few people in the office just trying stuff
gotcha.
out, seeing what they could do. And if someone went, "Hey, I made a list," and then they play it and they just win automatically, well, their list is suddenly getting looked at and going,
Yeah.
"Are you really good? Have you found an exploit or have you found a mistake?
Yeah.
What's going on here?" We just try to iron it out as much as possible to make it all work. And I think, like I say, again, just looking at a couple of things here, the heroes have got a little bit cheaper on a lot of the rosters. Like druids and heroes have Gaul. Druids, I know, had a bit of issues in the previous edition. They've also had their abilities massively changed as well.
There was theoretically a way that you could 0-turn kill your opponent's hero with 2 druids.
Yeah.
So interestingly, I don't know if you joined the company when we got.
I was like a month. My first show was the release show for
SPQR
1.
So I remember when we got the news that SPQR 2 was, or a revised edition was happening, and that was a fair while ago. Just to kind of put into context, just how long we've been working on this. I'm reasonably certain that I knew about SPQR revised edition before I knew about Victory at Sea.
Yeah.
It wasn't much in it, maybe a couple of months, but Darren had come around with some ideas and some kind of printed, hand-typed unit profiles and said, "What do you think about these? What do you reckon about these?"
Yeah.
Before we knew Victory at Sea was coming out. So, and Victory at Sea, we knew about a long time ago. So this is a long time in the making.
Yeah.
And I think it does show, actually, certainly much more polished. The kinks have been where we found them, ironed out, but it's not just a big FAQ and fancy cover.
Yeah.
It is a rewrite.
Yeah. And it's not to say the original was terrible,
No.
unplayable game. There was a few things that definitely needed some work, though, and I think
it had problems, so we fixed them.
And that's a big part of it as well. That's why we've got the redemption scheme. We realise it's been just under 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
But I think the original book retailed for £20.
Yes.
So assuming that the revised edition hits the same price point, then you can currently pick it up with a £15 box of models. So that's, if you need any reinforcements, you get to save money and basically get the book for free.
Yeah.
So
you want
there's a way to look in, and I think the redemption scheme going to be pretty big.
Yeah, because you wanted to touch on it, and
that's basically
it.
There's not a whole lot to say, because it is as simple as 1 box of infantry buys you the whole rulebook, even if you weren't necessarily going to check out SPQR.
Yeah.
Like if you're a Hail Caesar player and you're like, well, maybe I needed some more Romans. Right, make it the SPQR box of Romans. You just check out the rulebook. If it's not for you, then you've got the models.
Yeah.
And you've got the books if you ever change your mind. And if you wanted the SPQR rulebook, well, it's literally cheaper to buy it with some extra soldiers at the moment than buying the book separately later.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a really good deal.
The way to access that is on the website, in the SPQR section. It is called the Redemption Scheme. I think it is live now, isn't it? As a pre-order.
It's live on Friday, I think.
Yeah. So all you'd need to do is go into there, and you'll see there is 1 box of infantry, or there's a troop choice for every nation in the game.
Yes, we've got Macedonia,
if memory serves.
Pesatoroy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Close enough.
Macedonian pikemen, SPQR Gaul warriors, legionaries with Pila, SPQR Germania warriors, Numidian skirmishers, which any nation, as far as I can tell,
they're one of the
except
classic.
For maybe Britain.
They're one of the classic mercenary units.
And Dacian nobles, which is really nice models.
Really good set.
And some of them are £20, some of them are $15. But if you needed any reinforcements, then that's how you can get your rulebook.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that also includes the. Someone asked me this, so let's just cover that one quickly. The starter set is in the redemption scheme. You don't get an extra rulebook on top of the one inside the box. That is just another set with 1 rulebook.
Yeah.
So just because someone's already asked me that one in the comments. So there we go.
Anything in the chat?
Just having a quick look.
All right. It's one of the things I am really looking forward to with this as well, is how different all the warbands feel. Because they did feel very different. I actually played Theban Sacred Band in SPQR version 1.
Yeah.
And they were one of the warbands that actually did suffer a little bit because there was a couple of mechanics in there that didn't interact stunningly well.
Yeah.
They were quite prone to basically a cascade failure once one guy died.
Yeah.
It wasn't too many unlucky rolls for the whole force to run away.
Yeesh. Yeah.
And that really, it hurt their fun.
Mhm.
But they played so differently to everyone else. That was what attracted me to them.
Yeah.
And then, but you take them versus, say, Greeks. Just bog standard Greek cities. Completely different. Sparta, completely different again.
Oh, yeah.
Macedon, completely different again. And those are all really culturally pretty similar. And it's nice to just not have just different flavour of X. It's hard sometimes, with Greeks, with the Gauls, it's quite difficult to differentiate sometimes because it was very similar tactics and troops.
Or if you look at Hail Caesar, the difference between Britons, Gaul, Germania, infantry-wise, it's all pretty similar. You get your kind of special rules, special units here and there. Generally, it's one has chariots, one has cavalry.
The army is going to look very similar.
Yeah. But in SPQR, I think there's a little bit more room for more granularity within the units. And obviously, because it matters a bit more the individual man, what he's holding. Whereas Hail Caesar, it's quite reasonable to see a horde of Gauls that are just 40 infantry on their bases with axes, swords, spears, spear.
Someone's head.
Cudgel, all in a row. Suddenly you've got, these guys have clubs and shields. These guys just have spears, and these guys have chainmail, sword, and shield.
And that's one of the cool things that I wanted to touch on with your force and with what I've been doing as well.
Yeah.
This game is strict WYSIWYG.
Yeah.
Which I really love in a game.
Which is the name of one of my childhood friends' cats.
Nice. Strict WYSIWYG.
Just WYSIWYG. Seriously.
What was the cat WYSIWYG though?
It was a cat.
Had he paid the points?
No. Regularly jumped on the gaming table as well.
Oh, no. Nah, never been a fan of... I love cats, but when we get to the new place and we have a cat in a gaming room, the cat is not allowed in the gaming room.
Okay. Stern words. Any cats in the chat, you've been warned.
Telling you. But no.
Quickly, Intelligent Mr. Toad. Yes, tell us that joke. You might get blocked.
Which joke was that?
Anyone wants to hear a joke about Julius Caesar and his meteorologist? So, chat, brace yourselves. We deal with the Intelligent Mr. Toad on the phone quite often. This is the first time one of his jokes have gone public, and there may be some injuries.
Yeah. Just remember, we know where you live. So if it's too blue and this stream gets taken down, expect...
Yeah, keep it PG-13. And quickly, Haggard, there's nothing up for Persians at the moment. A lot of the Persian models are up for...
remake.
Yeah, remake and reworking. Some of the models were old. But if there's anything that's still in stock that you can see, drop us an email. We might be able to get something worked out.
Yeah, and that goes for people playing other nations. I mean, if you wanted to be an absolute madman and do Egyptians and try and mod them, and you fancied, I could fancy getting some Egyptian archers, give us a call, drop us an email, we'll see what we can do for you.
Or even if it's, I already play, Germania, and currently it's Germanian Warriors.
Yeah.
I've already got 4 units of Germanian Warriors, can I change it for archers?
Yeah.
Probably, you just need to get in touch with us,
We've got plenty of leniency for that.
And it's all made Warlord resin.
Exactly. Going back to,
go on.
Everything else is strictly WYSIWYG, which I love, because it both forces and encourages you to do some conversions, do some kit bashing, and really give some character to your models. And that, especially for a smaller scale system like you mentioned, I'm a huge fan of that. Because even though, I'm probably not going to name every spotty Briton in the
I
style...
don't know that many ancient words.
in the style of Asterix. Well, I'll be doing it in the style of Asterix, because it's just the best for naming conventions. While I'm not going to be naming all of them, I can actually put a little bit of love into all of them when I'm building them, which is actually my favourite part of the hobby phase, is really designing and putting together a cool model and, sourcing my components, trying a few different poses, working out how the construction's actually going to work, and then I ruin it by slapping paint on it.
I'm bad at conversion. I can do it, but I'd say it's probably one of my weakest parts of the hobby.
Between the two of us, we are the perfect hobbyist.
Maybe.
With our powers combined, etc. So what was the joke? I saw a chuckle there then, Max.
Oh god, I haven't actually read it yet.
Do a quick can we read this check?
Just for you, because I see a lot of the chat have already groaned at this. Caesar, what's the weather like tomorrow? Meteorologist. Hail, Caesar! Yes, thank you. But what's the weather like tomorrow? Yeah. At least it was clean.
I mean, I do actually have a better Roman joke, which we will save for amnesty.
Okay.
Chat, when we get to amnesty, remind me about my Roman joke, because I love it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward. I've obviously been cracking on with my force. One of the things I've done is obviously a lot of our naked models are for Gallic Celts or Germania, and a lot of them obviously don't have the iconic, or should we say stereotypically iconic, British features, which I'm going for. Bad teeth and a weird accent. No, the big droopy mustache, and the lime spiked hair.
Yeah.
But we do, in the Ancient Britons box set, have the metal upgrade sprues. So I've been sat there sawing off heads.
It's all very morbid.
It is. There's a lot of severed heads.
For those about to die, with the razor saw.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a lot of severed. There's probably an appropriate amount of severed heads, and I've got so many lying around that I might have to make some trophy head mounds or something.
There's an objective marker and a half there.
Oh, yeah, stick a few of them on some spears or something. I've got a baggie full of severed heads, which is a thing you'll never hear on another Twitch stream.
This is why they keep tuning in.
This is the real content.
Meanwhile, my assembly line was very civilized. No one got beheaded.
No,
the closest I got was a man's arm got cut off and then immediately sewn back on.
No one got beheaded, but lots of people got crucified.
But not in my army.
No, this is true.
It was called keeping the peace.
I do look forward to decimating you involuntarily.
You're only going to kill 1/10 of my men. I'll take that.
I've got to be realistic here. It's me playing.
I'll take that on a game. 1/10 casualties. You've been decimated. I don't know how to tell him this.
Yeah, right. He's not won. He's lost badly. That's why I want to play campaign. If we play enough games, even a blind squirrel eventually finds a nut.
But like I say, I'm looking forward to getting the games in. So I want to touch on another question we had. So getting over both the rulebooks.
Yes.
Someone's asking, have these scenarios changed? And that one, I don't actually know.
Okay.
So I'm not going to go all the way down to the nitty-gritty of the nation scenarios, because those I wouldn't be surprised if those have changed. But just the basic ones, I'm just going to do a quick hop over all of them.
Yep.
So originally, border invasion has returned. So all the basic scenarios are the same. I think there might be some basic tweaks within them.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee that. I've not actually gone down and fine-combed them to change, but I'm probably a few tweaks are necessary just because of some of the game tweaks.
Yeah.
But on a core level, everything seems to be the same, which I think that's fine. I definitely don't think the scenarios were they weren't a problem thing that I think had a lot of feedback that people weren't particularly happy with. So, I think that's going to be good.
And of course, you do also get the really cool, each nation has its own tailored scenario.
Yeah. Those might have changed, but like I say, it would take a while to
we don't have that. We don't have that much time.
If you want to check, buy a book. There's quite a few, like I say, I think everyone has at least one, and quite a lot of nations have two.
Yeah.
Which is going to add a lot of colour, I think.
A lot of depth and a lot of replayability as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like we said with Warlords of Errol, with Mythic Americas, there's a small number of missions, but you've got the dynamic secondaries.
Yeah.
That makes the replay value so much greater, And to be honest, having 6 missions isn't a huge handicap for a game. I mean, look at Bolt Action.
You call it 6 missions.
Yeah.
It's more like 14.
This is true.
Because, so Mike's there saying, are there things like Greek legendary characters such as Achilles, Leonidas? So I know there are Greek. I don't know if there are those ones in specifically, but it's the easiest thing in the world to... So for Athens, for example, you've got Cleon and Themistocles.
Yep. Or the classic for Germania, Arminius and Ariovistus. And Ariovistus was an animal in 1st edition. I'm looking forward to see how he is in 2nd edition. I've not had a chance to read his stats. I'm just going to check Sparta quickly.
But my point being, if there's anything that isn't in specifically, because I think Achilles might be a little before this game, you can just buy a basic hero and kind of
build him to be Achilles.
He gets 5 extra ranks. So he'll want this stat, this stat, this stat, and we'll give him -1 in armor to represent his heal.
Interestingly, most of the people in this,
Mhm.
or most of the named characters, are real people.
Yeah.
They are historical
I think
people.
all of them are, aren't they?
I think everyone is, yeah. Now, a lot of them are people about whom much has been written, most of which is inflation and myth.
Call
and,
it PR.
Yeah, a spin and a mystique. But they're called real people.
I didn't lose, I tactically withdrew.
That is what I will be saying repeatedly, I think, throughout the campaign. Can't lose if you refuse to play. In fact, what's actually going to happen is Max's Romans will turn up, the Iceni will do a complete about face and go, yeah, we submit, we like being Romans.
Let's both go attack some hypothetical Picts.
Exactly. Perfect. Now we need a victim volunteer to play Picts. Connor will probably do it. So yeah, this is a game, as I say, grounded in history more than it is in myth, but certainly not a historical simulation, because the Druid hexes do work.
Yeah, so we got quite a few questions spiralling off these, and
Always
some
good.
equally terrible jokes.
Oh, here we go.
Let me just do a quick...
No worries.
I like that one a lot. Roman walks into a bar, holds up two fingers and says, 5 beers, please.
Nice.
Like I say, just bear with me one moment. This one's a bit longer. I need to do a check just to make sure I'm not going to get in trouble.
If you are going to send us jokes, please keep them PG.
They've behaved so far.
Yeah.
Just double checking.
Because I know there's some good ones out there that are a little blue, but sadly we can't read them. What do we got?
I think I get that one. An ancient Roman walks into a bar. He sits down and says, "I'll have a Martinus, please." Don't you mean a martini?
That's one or two I would have asked for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't speak a lick of Latin or anything ancient, but I think I get
plural
that one,
singular. Yeah.
So, Haggard, an actual rulesy question here. So, the combat has changed. It's only moved from... brain. It's moved from all minis swinging to only the ones touching an enemy. So, yes. So, there's... I'm cutting through the melee thing to the particular thing, so it might be a bit missed out. But for both units, every model that is now in base contact with models from the enemy unit, and only those models in base contact, contribute their melee dice to create the melee dice pool for the unit. Similarly, only these models based contact can utilize any special rules they have access to, such as shields. There are exceptions to this, things like pikes and I think long spears and stuff like that. So there are ways to get the back ranks involved, especially if you are like phalanx, where you're all in base contact. But I think this allows units like Romans to finally do that test judo where we're in a tight formation. Oh, the classic 300. Get them in a bottleneck, have them hit the shields on the front. Now, you can only get the frontage you can get. So you can make that kind of work for a heavy unit like a legionary.
And that was the big problem. I would say the single biggest, actually, problem with old SPQR. The first
20 ghouls always beat 5 legionaries.
Yeah, you took 20 ghouls. 20 or 30, I think you got up to.
Oh, and it's 20 unit cap now.
That's nice.
No matter what unit it is. I think min 5, max 20.
Nice.
And you get a bonus in...
10s, isn't it?
Yeah, I think 10 or more, it's +1 bravery or +1 melee attack or +1 shooting, depending on what you are. I need to check. Yeah, that's not... Yeah. There's a bonus.
Last edition, it was very much you took 30 ghouls and you were rolling so many dice and they all counted that it almost felt more like massed combat.
Yeah.
And this one hero was just getting avalanched by a bunch of dudes who were, in game or in real life abstraction terms, stood 20 feet away from him at the back of this mob.
Yeah.
People just javeling their swords.
With the druids going, aim better! And then everyone re-rolling.
Yeah.
Which is still in, but there's a couple tweaks on the druid rules, like I said. So, M. Jenkins asking that, are talents roughly the same? The way they work, the way that you get XP, yes, I think the individual talents, some of them have been up, some of them have been down, etc., etc. And again, I haven't gone through with a comb, done all of them, but I imagine almost certainly there have been some that have been tweaked, because, like I said, there's been
the whole
enough tweaks that I imagine some stopped making a lot of sense, kind of thing, even before there was balance or just fun taken into consideration. So, yes, I've got really dry throat because I'm nattering away.
It's been a good one. I'm glad to see as well, plenty of people in the chat asking questions, because people ask us questions, and that means we know they care.
Yeah, and I think Whew, I stayed up quite late last night watching hockey, so hopefully, that despite my tiredness, my excitement is still coming through, because like I say, I really can't wait to get games in. I know a bunch of the guys from the office are playing. I think Connor, one of our colleagues in customer service, he wants to do Germanics.
Yeah.
Other Connor, who is half us, half store, he wants to do Thebans and a little bit of Macedonians. So, me and you are playing. Tobias, who some of you might know through events and stuff like that, he's jumping in. I can't remember what nation. I think he's basically got everything.
Tobias was one of the lead playtesters on this. He really championed. I mean, we did some with original SPQR.
Yeah.
I mean, we were playtesting. I was a little involved. With the playtesting.
I was a bit too early for that.
Yeah. So if you want to throw rocks at someone, may as well be me. It wasn't my fault, but it wasn't anyone's fault. But Tobias has actually been one of the champions of SPQR right from the very start.
Yeah.
Interestingly as well, Tobias has just been a hobby machine.
Oh yeah. Lockdown's been good for him.
Oh yeah.
At least his productivity.
No spoilers, but we'll be seeing some of his stuff on the channel pretty soon.
We'll announce that next week, I think.
Yes.
I'll think about scheduling later.
That's all right.
Bolt action in 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
games.
Well, when we invent the time machine, none of that will matter.
No, 2 weeks we're doing SPQR. Time machine after that.
Yes. Or before.
So quick overview of how Phalanx works. No. I'd really like to. I'm not playing a nation with the Phalanx. I've actually skipped over that.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, I think it turns you into a far tighter unit. There's then rules for things like wheeling, and suddenly you become way less maneuverable than something like a mob of Celts or a unit of Romans. But for that, you get extra attacks because you've got the pikes coming over. I think there's some defensive buffs as well. So in a nutshell, it's for bigger units as well. So I think it's 10 men or more. So you're going to see a lot of Macedonians with one block that's just pure chaos, carnage, and devastation, just lawnmowing up the front. And anyone who dares engage them front on is going to have a really poor day. But you might get outflanked. You've got to think about things. You've got to think of how can we cover the objectives.
Have you spent all your points on the Phalanx?
Yes, we're a little bit slower. So there's going to be some interesting balance on that. But I mean, it's going to be some good stuff.
Yeah.
I know if you the count points, well, they're slightly easier to shoot.
Yes.
That. So I think that's going to be fun.
Yeah, as I say, unfortunately, we genuinely do not have the time or the brain power, in my case, to do a complete explanation of every rule. Yeah. The answer as always remains, obviously, if you're excited like we are, get a copy. It is ridiculously cheap at the moment.
Yeah, so I think March 8th we're going to be getting a game, and I think it's March 21st. The rulebook's being
Is that the Ides of March? I hope that's the Ides of March. Chat, please tell me when the Ides of March are. Oh, I don't have access to Google right now. As I say, the book is ridiculously cheap at the moment. I think it's easily the cheapest we've ever sold a new rulebook.
Yeah.
So if you are excited, just may as well pick up a copy. And obviously, if you do have any questions when it comes out, then by all means, give us a message, give us a call, because by that point we will have had a chance to play some games, really get to grips with the system. And, just like we do with Bolt Action and other games, more than happy to answer your queries. And if we can't, we'll pass it to the team.
Yeah, and on the 8th of March, we will be playing it ourselves.
Yes.
So if anyone's on the fence about, I don't know, I'd like to see a game, well, tune in or catch us on the YouTube upload.
Yes.
Because we are going to be giving it a whirl.
I'm really excited.
I am currently at about 700 points. I don't know where Marcus is, but I'm going to keep breaking the whip out and seeing how high we can get the points. But at least 500 denarii game. Because I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm actually going to do a very quick hobby corner. I've not got that much lined up this week, but where is he hiding? So we've got Mikey Jenkins, who I hope is... Yes, I can see him in the chat there, actually. He's literally just commented with his Celts and his Caesarian Romans.
Oh, awesome.
So obviously, because we are social distancing, Marcus can't see this.
Max, again, will describe them to me through the magic of dance.
Gauls. Looks like the base set being the... starter kit.
Yep.
He's also added the heroes set, which I love the models from that. The chieftain with both his arms out. Fantastic model. He's got that one going. I don't know who. Possibly Vercingetorix.
Mm-hmm.
Is he on a horse?
No.
In our depiction? They're not Vercingetorix. And the druid, who's hand up in the air, looking very iconic. Really nice force probably about 500 denarii. So like a really good force to just jump in, get playing, get
Classic.
games in,
Nice.
get the new rules under your feet. He's also conveniently got the Roman side of things, so
Nice.
I'm going to flash those up as well. Like the only 2 picks this week, I kind of got a bit distracted. Work's been a bit crazy,
It
so
has been a little bit
I didn't
mad.
get a chance to go for a picture hunt. But Romans again, really iconic. You've got 2 blocks of legionnaires, and then I can't remember his first name. Varenus from the show.
Lucius.
Yes, you got Lucius Varenus.
Titus Pullo.
I can't see Pula there.
Oh,
And he's in the background. I mean, you got the commander from the starter set.
Yep.
And the cavalryman.
see, that's reminded me, talking about the old starter,
cavalry
talking about the starter set, I do need to pick up the old starter set miniature.
Oh, is it the man slaughtering the goat?
The man slaughtering the goat, however, if you take just a little bit of heat, he's got his knife, he's got his goat by the scruff of the neck, he's stood astride and he's slitting its throat. Little bit of heat, bend the arm up, Goat Rider!
Yes. No, I just want him as a painting thing. I've actually got one of him on my desk.
Nice.
But where was I going with this?
Before you were
I got in
derailed by
trouble
Goat Rider.
about Crazy Goat Dude.
Oh, really?
My first ever job for Warlord was on the events team.
Mm.
The weekend that
Your
SPQR
odyssey
came out,
up to
all the way up to Edinburgh. It was very fun, but oof, that was my first ever trip to Scotland. It was a journey, but I got in trouble because I kept referring to him. If you buy this book, you get a free Crazy Goat Dude.
What were you-
you probably shouldn't call him
what were you
that.
supposed to call him?
Blood Sacrifice. It's the official.
Oh
one.
yeah, it is, isn't it?
And he was like, "Could you stop calling him Crazy Goat Dude?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's internal. I understand."
See, for me, he's Goat Rider.
Mhm.
Because so many people around the office who have got him have done that, bent the arm up, and he is the totally awesome Goat Rider.
If anyone hasn't heard it as well, coin it SP2R.
Yes.
It sounds great.
It does.
Because that's the working nickname for this one.
Yes.
SP2R.
I swear you're trying to get a royalty on that.
No, I want to get my name in the rulebook on the next reprint.
Don't worry, that's not us saying we're doing version 3. We expect these to sell out pretty quick, and we'll need to do another print run.
Yeah. My name should be in there for my terrific contribution. Ogdog's asked one that I don't know if I can answer yet because it's kind of really hard to answer without having a game under your belt. Favourite rule? Go. I'm assuming he's talking about SPQR. So let's stick to that because otherwise it's going to get a little bit...
I was just going to say, because my favourite rule would probably have to be Queen Victoria.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not hugely sure. Like I say, there's so many of the interesting rules, the really small nitty gritty ones, that are kind of hard to determine what they're going to do in game. Also, I play Roman Auxiliary. We don't have that many fancy special rules.
I'm trying to find it because I was reading through it randomly. And, just flicking through it, my eye alighted on it. Here it is. Got him.
Okay.
Imperial Rome. Heroes of Legend. They have Tiberius,
Yes.
who obviously later becomes the Emperor. Tiberius. He has a rule called Poisonous Mother.
Oh, so he does.
And I'm going to read the rule Poisonous Mother. The enemies of Tiberius had a habit of suddenly falling ill. While some recovered, many did not, and there was always an idea that Livia, the mother of Tiberius, had a hand in aiding her son's ambitions. And here's the rule, this is great. At the start of a battle, Tiberius may make an opposed bravery check with a single enemy hero. If Tiberius is successful, that hero is removed from the battlefield as a casualty, having suddenly fallen ill.
That's absurd. You'll be happy to learn he costs 144 denarii, which is more expensive than almost every unit in my army.
Yeah.
So you're paying a premium to get that option.
The legendary heroes do have some really tasty special rules, but you pay the points premium.
Ooh,
and if you wanted to, you can quite cheerfully go for this campaign, no legendaries.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you can go absolutely kind of balls to the wall and go, nope, legendaries allowed. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go full Hollywood.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like Testudo. Very iconic. The rules are pretty tight for it. Just a way to make them feel like the unbreakable wall that can still move, and you get to break out the really cool Resident Testudo model whenever you deploy it. So, Testudo, I should really need to get the Centurion from that kit.
He's so cool. Is he the one that's kind of got a shield half up and he's waving them forwards?
That.
Oh yeah, the
that
guy just
yeah.
absolutely.
And then underneath we've got Primus Pilus, who's also fantastic.
He's dope.
We do some very good Centurions, and if you're a Rome fanboy like me, you're spoiled for choice.
It's stunning, you know. We did Titus Pullo and Lucius Varenus.
Mhm.
We never did James Purefoy as Mark Antony.
Yeah, we did. He's in the Caesarian Roman. Oh no, Caesarian Roman Heroes box.
No way!
Yeah,
did we do him as James Purefoy's Mark
I'm
Antony?
pretty sure, yeah.
Oh,
We definitely do a Mark Antony. I'm
Favourite
pretty sure
character. He was my favourite
elements.
character in the series.
Who? Yeah, of course he was. Of course he was everyone's. He's great in that.
Oh yeah.
You've only ever seen him in one other movie, and that was Knight's Tale.
Knight's Tale
Yeah.
as the king. He was sick in that as well.
Oh, he was Black Prince in that one.
No, he was the Black
Yeah.
Prince. Sorry, with the.
Great movie. But yeah, and yeah, like I said, there's a lot of good Roman stuff out there. Whether you're a big fan of the old epics, Swords and Sandals movies, or if you're more HBO's Rome, I mean, the awful number of bad.
Spartacus Blood and Sand for the true connoisseurs of truly awful television out there.
Truly awful.
I love that show. I watched it at just the right time in my life, shall we say?
Mm-hmm.
I.e., when I was about 17, and I was definitely the target demographic.
I think I watched it about that time as well, but I think I was already too good for that show.
Well,
I don't tend to consider myself like particularly intelligent or movie set. I just watched it. I'm like, this is trash. I'm not watching this.
Well, in fact, you then went on to do filmy things at uni.
Wow.
So you had a little bit more of an appreciation for that art form.
Maybe.
Me. Bear in mind the three greatest movies ever made are Top Gun, Shrek, and A Knight's Tale.
Okay. He's been in some other things. V for Vendetta, never seen it.
No.
And Ironclad.
Oh God.
I've seen Ironclad.
Yeah, that was awful.
Yeah, Ironclad's bad.
Ironclad was. Oh, so actually no, Ironclad. I'm going to defend Ironclad here.
Why?
It was a great LARP movie. Like seriously, it was an awesome LARP movie. On the off chance we've got any Empire players in chat that we don't know are Empire players, watch Ironclad with a beer because it feels like Wintermark and Highguard fighting the Marches.
Terrible.
I watched it with...
Oh no, that one.
No,
Ironclad,
where it's like a weird castle siege.
Yeah, no, I hate
with
that
like
movie.
a seven samurai vibe.
Yeah, no, I despise that movie. But yeah, looking forward to it. There's a couple units that I'm not sure how they're going to fit in. Stuff like Scorpions. Because Scorpions are really good at making one thing a turn super dead, right?
Hero Sniper.
But a lot of heroes can hide in units.
Oh, yeah.
So only heroes can target heroes in units.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of a...
I like that.
Yeah, which is a little bit of a break from your tradition. Once they're in a unit, they're safe kind of gameplay. No, if the hero is being targeted by a hero with a bow, that's all absolutely
love that. That's so... I mean, been a long time since I did my A-levels, but classics A-level. And you absolutely, that so fits the theme of... oh god, what's the game? I remember it, you played the Legend of Zelda version where you're just kind of wandering around.
Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, and what's the Dynasty Warriors is the game. Honestly, the Iliad rather is basically Dynasty Warriors fanfiction. Because it is, seriously. It's these great heroes slaughtering legions of mooks just without a second thought.
Yeah.
And then they run into each other and have boss fights. And that's really well represented. I love that as an idea for... Yeah, your hero can hide in his legion of mooks, but when another hero finds him, the sea of mooks parts.
Yeah, they take snipes at each other, because it's ungentlemanly for a commoner to shoot an officer.
Exactly.
Etc, etc.
But yeah, no...
But it's rare, because even gameplay-wise, normally, if heroes in a unit, you can't target them.
Yeah.
But, your heroes can, because it feels right.
Absolutely.
And yeah, there's rules for challenges and stuff as well, so it's like, right, seriously, he's mine.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody kill him but me. Which is going to be, again, great for scenario play. Because, you can refuse a challenge. You might get boos and hisses. But if you're leaving, you're leaving.
And
so you can go, cool, honour or a chance to fight another day kind of thing.
And once you've got the campaign rolling,
yeah,
you know what we're like as wargamers. It's going to get proxy personal. Like, I don't care what my mission objective says. He absolutely had me last game. He dies today.
But yeah, like I say, I think stuff like the Scorpion's going to have a weird place in it, because if anyone is stupid enough to leave their characters out, that's my target for this turn. They're really good for, possibly if you're playing other legions. Killing a legion on your turn doesn't take that many turns to make your points back. You can disrupt plans. But I'm looking at that going, Gauls, that's going to have an issue. Because do you know what, weirdly, I think its #1 favourite target's going to be elephants.
I was about to say elephants.
are a nightmare.
I remember in version 1, when we were playtesting version 1, Carl Bush had his Romans.
Him in ages.
Oh, it's
Working from home, man.
I've missed so many faces.
Wow.
But he testudoed his Romans on a bridge.
God. Yeah.
And an elephant. I think it was
an elephant happened in there.
I think it was
everyone died.
I think it was Geezer who had an elephant. And Geezer's elephant literally just walked over the testudo and killed the whole thing in a turn.
Oh, I shouldn't laugh. That's funny.
I've not seen so much. I've not seen so much unbalanced kind of.
Stop saying testudo around me because I'm going to break my rule of no Romans in my army.
I've not seen such an unbalanced patch since Mummakill in the old Lord of the Rings strategy battle game. That thing was cosmically OP.
Hard to transport as well. Those things are huge.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, looking at the war elephant, just because sometimes it's fun to just go, hey, look at this unit. It's ridiculous. So for 150 points,
which is eye-watering.
Yeah. For reference, my auxiliary unit's at like 10 men, probably rocking it at about 180, so it's like, you know, kind of that kind of ballpark. Melee +2, and bearing in mind you're looking for 6s to cause casualties. 6 melee dice per elephant. Armour +2, because you've got thick skin, lots of armour, and 16 wounds. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I imagine a few special rules about running amok and trampling things and...
Yeah, so you can also buy them a turret, so you've got the guys in the top.
And a 15-inch gun.
Free, yeah. Big but cowardly. 2 paragraphs on that, so I'm not going to read it, but effectively, when elephants go spooked, they get really spooked and they run through your phalanxes, so keep them happy, because that's the upside of them. Yeah. Yes, an elephant can happily walk through a line of legionaries, which most infantry see and turn pale. The elephant doesn't care, but if the elephant gets hit by a couple of javelins, spooked by a scorpion, oh boy, that's a lot of guys of yours. It's just stood on.
Suddenly you're now fighting your opponent and the thing you paid points for.
That was going to break your opponent's army by itself, and now it's going to do that to your phalanx.
Yeah, very risk-reward there.
Yeah.
Quite swingy.
But I mean, the model's cool enough that it's always worth the risk. I love that Macedonian elephant. It's so gorgeous. How did the Roman Empire get cut in half? By a pair of Caesars.
That's not even bad. That's good.
That's another one from Mr. Toad there. Michael, you're on fire.
What sort of time are we on for telling my Roman joke?
We got 15 minutes left.
I think I'll go with
you go for it.
So,
if they log off now, it can't have viewing figures that bad.
Watch us tank the viewing figures. So Julius Caesar comes back in triumph from his campaigns in Gaul, and he says, "I slaughtered 4,000 Gauls. You know, I am the greatest, fear me. Look at what I've done, look at what I've achieved." Brutus stands up and goes, "Caesar, I love you, but you are talking rubbish. You didn't kill 4,000 Gauls, you only killed 2,000. It's still an achievement, why do you have to lie to us?" Caesar goes, "Oh, my dear Brutus, don't you know away Gauls count double in Europe?"
I'm logging off.
I heard that joke, I think, when I was about 5, and that's like a core memory for me. I mean, hey, when we eventually do some Dark Ages stuff...
No, I'm cutting you off. Actually, at half past, you can get away with that one. That joke's too bad to be on an open stream. Mike likes to point out there that Mook is a town in Holland near Nijmegen, if memory recalls. You've just insulted an entire town. Hey, don't blame me. I don't actually know where the phrase comes from. Everyone's just referred to the guys, mostly at the front of Space Hulk games, as Mooks. I have no idea where it comes from.
Yeah, I have absolutely not a clue.
Same with like Bods or something like that.
Yeah.
Just Mook is the one that I hate the most.
And in fairness, if anyone from the town of Mook is terribly offended, please let me know.
Yeah. Let us on a postcard.
Yeah. I've never offended an entire town before, and I'm a little kind of proud.
I don't believe that. You're a hometown kid like me.
Yeah, this is
small towns. It's really easy to do. You just say one thing in a pub. Everyone's head turns.
Yeah, you're not from round here.
You're not from round here. Yeah, I'm down the other street or drinking your pub.
Yes. That's what I was growing up in Lincolnshire. We had a village with 5 pubs.
Yeah.
And nobody.
You're like 2 or 3. If you go on the other side of town,
mate, it was 1 pub per group.
God. Wow. We had a like north side, south side sort of thing, and that's hilarious when you see 10,000 people. It's really not worth the tribalism. Whereas I know you go to the sportsman if you're on like the side of things, and if you're on the opposite, then you go to like the Imperial or the Smithy. And now nobody goes to the Smithy these days.
Just had a little bit of a Martin Baker surprise there.
Yeah, these chairs aren't great. We reliably break them. I'm surprised no one really comments on it.
Pull the black and yellow handle out through the ceiling I go.
So yeah. So is there any other units you plan to... Because obviously you're trying to speed paint to kind of get stuff ready. Is there anything that you want to add to your British, potentially like chariots or anything? That's super iconic.
I actually don't want to go with chariots. The way I envisage the army is basically an army that can go anywhere. And I want to be using terrain a lot.
Like that famous one where, going back to the Romans thinking the Britons were like supernatural.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a documentary where they thought that the ancient Britons could stay underwater in their swamps for up to 8 hours.
Reeds.
But they thought they could do it naturally. Like they were like reptilian or something, just kind of going...
I mean, you have been to Norfolk, right?
Point taken. It was even more swampy back then. But the point being, like, suddenly, chariots aren't much good for when you're in the middle of a swamp, and this is a little bit fantasy.
Absolutely. I mean, I do want to add some slingers.
Okay.
Slingers
are good.
I actually really like our slingers.
I think they've been slightly nerfed. I think the whole range combat's been tweaked again, so everything, javelin, bow, sling, they all have their purpose, but they're still pretty handy. Like, they're the best long range, just lots of shots, but their mobility is garbage.
Absolutely.
Whereas bows can kind of move and fire,
No, I think some slingers get in there, certainly.
Cool models too.
That's it. I really like those models. Actually, I'm looking at mercenaries, weirdly.
Yeah.
And because there is an element of fantasy...
Balearic slingers!
Oh, it just warms the cockles of my Total War heart. Reset the clock. This is entirely stupid. I wouldn't use it against you because it's just super not thematic, but I want them. Some hoplites.
Okay. If only War Games Illustrated were covering them.
Funny that, isn't it?
Funny that.
That's the edition with us in, isn't it?
We're possibly on the front cover. I can't remember.
Yeah. We're on the front cover of A War Games Illustrated. Pick it up. It's cool.
Yeah.
Cut it out. Put it in your bathroom.
Yeah, I think I've got there were 2 sprues of those. Someone else didn't want theirs. So Max, you've got you were interested in that? I'm like, yes.
I've got quite a few actually from when I did my Theban Sacred Band.
Okay.
So I got a couple just to bulk out. But yeah, so definitely some slingers, possibly some mastiffs or some war dogs.
Ooh, I like the mastiffs
because they're great models and they're pretty iconic as well.
Are you going to get old lady throwing cabbage at children?
Yes. Cool. Yes, I will.
And there's my sergeant for the
I do actually kind of
slinger unit in my army.
I do kind of want some warrior women as well. We've got the warrior women.
Yeah, those are a cool pack. I forgot about those.
They're a cool pack, and also, it is a bit of a sausage party. So let's balance it out.
One clothed unit.
Yeah, right. The only clothed unit. The only one.
A large lady with an apron on, holding out her husband's head with a hatchet.
Well, the only people sensible to keep their clothes on, -3 in January in England were the women. So, strangely enough, all the blokes are being daft.
Mike, when you say you're on the cover, do you literally mean Max and Marcus? Not just us. The whole team is.
Yes.
They've used our photo for the. Announcement of the awards.
Yes.
I think it might be because we were the only team they could get in one place under corona restrictions. Because like the Perry guys, they normally go to the pub.
Yeah.
Pub at the moment, stuff like that. So somehow they put our ugly mugs on the front. Probably because we're all in the same uniform and it's a small enough image you can't see our faces.
Don't worry, we're not. It's not like a full cover shot. We're down in the corner.
We got the Vogue thing going on. I got a cup on my bottom and champagne popping at the front.
It's the Sports Illustrated body issue.
Stig, are characters as goofy as in Erewhon? I don't think so.
No.
I think they're a little bit more maneuver warfare, shooty, good for an impact, but a little bit more what they're actually used for, kind of thing. Oh, and Amnesty is open, so if anyone has any off-topic questions, now is the time. So, Nerdy Coffee Co. Hey guys, annoyingly, I've not been able to watch much of the stream. Have you guys gone over the changes between V1 and 2? Yeah, so I've got both of them here. New one in this hand. So we've looked at some of the differences, talked about some of them.
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with the original game, Marcus is, so this will be uploaded onto YouTube Tuesday and Wednesday. So please give it a look.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we haven't gone through every single change. That's not really the purpose of the stream. This is more us being excited about it and wanting to share it with you guys, and obviously just give you a little bit of a kind of an insight into the kinds of things.
Yeah, and in a week or two, we're going to be getting a game of this in as well. So this is a little bit of a primer, so we can cover some of the questions now, so we can just get a straight game in next time.
Absolutely.
Going to be fun. Ogdog tempted by Romans because I'm basic, or Macedonians because I love transported pikes. It crossed my mind as well. I love the Macedonian aesthetic as well, but yeah, pikes are pain.
Best one I've seen, the stupidest best one.
Not turned on the PC again.
I didn't plug it in this time.
My fault that time.
High production values here.
No, when it's you who did it, it's your fault. When I did it, it's the team's fault. I'm the one with the laptop.
We're a team. To quote Eugene Melnick. No, pike transportation. The best one I've seen, actually. Kind of goofy, but it worked. A lot of effort. I think with some hoplites.
Yeah.
The guy had cut off all the pikes and had drilled the hands for metal.
Oh, don't like that at all.
Like... That's
a pain.
That's a lot of work, but that's a man who's pretty dedicated.
If you do an SPQR, that's pretty good. I wouldn't want to do it for Hell Season.
No, this was Hell Season. Oh, God, big army as well.
That's brutal.
Yeah, and
I wonder if Ian did that because his Macedonian.
We'll have a look when we go down.
Yeah.
When we go upstairs, because we can be able to tell obviously that the metal ones are quite skinny compared to the plastic telegraph poles.
Mike Jenkins got the Hoplite sprue in their Sat Prime. Not sure what colours to commit to. I like white and like cream for a basic linothorax. But you get a lot of liberties with piping colours on them.
I like green.
Yeah, green piping, blue piping, red piping. It's all because you've got that white base. It all really pops. With the shields, you can paint them. At which point, if you paint them white and then you put your decals over that, it really pops. Or you can just do them in straight brass. So I'm
a big fan of white and X for Greeks. It does really suit them. It makes them look summery as well, Mediterranean.
True. I've never painted any living hoplites, but I've had a lot of fun with that sprue, turning them into skeletons.
Nice. Is that for Frostgrave stuff?
For Frostgrave, yeah. We're using our Erewhon skeletons and our Hail Caesar.
Yes, I like that a lot.
Yeah, I'll post them. I'll bring them up some point.
Yeah,
because they're fun. Mike saying, you say the women keep the clothes when it's cold. You've not been to a big market in Newcastle.
This is
so we
true.
Insulted the people of Mook. Mike's there going after the people of Newcastle.
I mean, this is true.
It's like that joke as it plummets to -13 degrees in some places in the UK. Up north, they've considered turning the heating on.
Yeah.
Max Marcus, please pester people to get a 17th century expansion made. Well, I think that most likely be its own game, but we like skirmishy stuff. It's a nice entry point.
In the same way that we talked about earlier, the fact that the way that the reason a lot of the time that we'll do expansions for things is community demand. Honestly, get this, play the hell out of this. Genuinely play the hell out of this. If you think we've got something wrong, tell us.
Yeah.
And
there will be an FAQ. It's not like we've revised it, it's done.
Yeah.
No. There's going to be some things that we're checking.
And also, tell us what you like about it.
Yeah.
And tell us what you want to see next and why. And it's that community passion that is what we take as the green light as a company a lot of the time.
Yeah.
To go, all right, we think there's something here. Obviously, that there's some of our market research. We think we've got a community for this. Let's see, can we make it work as a game? Can we make the models work?
The
Spanish
Black Seas coming out.
Yeah.
It's also getting an expansion.
Absolutely.
Gabriel confirmed that in the group where I think it's doing like pirates, like Prussian fleets, Black Sea stuff. Not Black Sea, yeah. No, it's Black Sea.
Yeah, it's
right.
Black Sea.
Yeah, just because the book name, I'm like, no, I'm just getting confused. But yeah, so that's an example of a game that we weren't really sure how it was going to take off.
No, we had no idea.
Cruel Seas was a couple of years before it. It's not like they were back-to-back release. We're definitely going all in on Sea.
Cruel Seas was a
Some people have pointed out we've got a couple of, quite a few Sea games now. That just kind of happens because they keep going strength to strength. Dip our toe in on Cruel Seas. It's like, cool, that's taken really well. Black Seas, whoa! Victory Seas, whoa!
Yeah, absolutely.
People have joked in the office about Wine Dark Seas.
I really want us to do Wine Dark Seas.
This isn't a confirmation, this isn't a big leak, but with how well those three have done, I'd be stunned if we didn't do it.
I would also
really would.
I would also like to claim Wine Dark Seas. Because the original working title was Hail Caesar. SEA instead of C.
That's criminal. Don't like it.
It was bad. It was really bad. And I was like, no, come on, classicist. Wine Dark Sea. Perfect. And that's one I really like to see. And again, cough, cough, let's tie some stuff into campaigns. That tie in so nicely to this.
There you go. Any news for Cruel Seas? Nothing at the moment.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything on that one lately. Mr. Toad, for those currently collecting or potentially interested, if you could start a new bolt action army, what would it be? I'm thinking forward to summer. Oh, there's always something I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Polish.
Mine for me is very simple. It's my Battalieri. My British kitted Battalieri, which I am starting as soon as I get my hands on the sprues.
I got to see Endless Seas for Space. Antares has been mooted in the past.
We did have a thought about that.
Like I say, this isn't us confirming anything, this isn't us denying anything.
No.
But the idea has come up. That doesn't mean we're involved.
No.
I wouldn't be surprised if it at least been penciled, like, back of a post-it note. What if we tried this? And then they tried something with some spare models kind of thing.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be surprised if it hasn't already been tried, and who knows?
You will walk into studio sometimes and just see them doing strange things on a table in the corner with models you recognise.
The first time I saw the monsters for the monster expansion for Black Seas, I was like, what are those? And everyone's like, you didn't see these.
Yeah. It's great. So, you know, there is stuff going on, but we can't obviously talk about what it is. But lots of cool things happening in studio.
Amish there. So sorry about what I'm about to do. Play it, tell us what you like. Tiger Fear and the Gladiators warbands need to be unnerved. No. Tiger Fear is a free rule.
Yep. It costs nothing.
Nick Gams, that's what we're implying with the Wine Dark Sea. Like I say, it's an idea that's floating around. If we... Most likely, they're probably playtesting it at some stage.
Obviously, we're not confirming it. It may, you know, games do get to the playtesting stage.
And then go nowhere.
And we go, yeah, actually, let's put this on the back burner.
But like I say, I'd be stunned if they haven't at least had a look at this point.
Yeah, I know it's been talked about.
Yeah.
I've not seen... that's one I've not seen anything for.
Okay.
But, again, that doesn't...
For playtesting stage, it might just be...
If someone's playtesting it at home.
Or they're using, like, you know, Black Sea stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's a placeholder, you know. A frigate is a... Bireme and a third rate to Gwyntreme or whatever.
Yeah. So you just never know.
So, but yeah, I'd like to say. I think really cool.
I think it'd be really cool.
But I think that's enough for us.
Yeah.
About 6:30. So if anyone has anything they want to show us, please do. Because we want a nice big hobby corner next week.
Yes.
I can't say what we're doing next week. No. I know exactly what we're doing next week, but keep an eye on the newsletter first. There's some stuff being announced that we're going to be talking about next week. So keep an eye on the newsletter on Wednesday. If you know any friends who you think would like to watch this, please send the YouTube link to them afterwards. And if you are a regular Twitcher, please subscribe.
Yes.
Hope you all have a great week and stay safe and see you then.
See you later.